Well, it's Friday. However, I decided, what the hell? As you probably can guess, we have some recent events from none other than Stardom. So it's all about Stardom today. As you know, they had the recent show on the 10th in Osaka featuring some many matches. The main event is, of course, between Tam Nakano and Starlight Kid taking on, of course, Hate members Saya Kamitani and Raka. So basically, as you know, this is like a bit of a prelim for Tam and Kamitani for the Yokohama event on the 27th of April. And then we move on with the following day, which is today, of course, at the Sakae, which another preliminary matches will also take place. Amongst them is the main event featuring, of course, the members of God's Eye, consistent of Shuri, Tomoka Inaba, and Rana Yagami, I believe, and they take on, of course, star members Momokogo, Hanan, and Mayu Utani. Now, this match is also the preliminary match between Shuri and Mayu Utani for the IWGP Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens until then. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with the news updates. However, there will be no developments involving in this one. It's all about, of course, upcoming events. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted WrestleZone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted WrestleZone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. So it's now to take on, should I say, as Cameron Grimes would say, let's go to the moon. So, let's begin, of course, with Stardom in Osaka. Okay, Stardom in Osaka. This happened recently, yesterday, on the 10th of April, in the Adion Arena, Osaka, number 2. So this is a very popular venue in the area where Stardom normally would do their, like some of their, not big shows, but you know what I mean. But anyway, it's opened up with a 8-woman tag team match. We have, of course, the rookies, Akira Kurogane and Yuria Him. They team up with, of course, FWC, Koguma and Azuki, taking on the members of Stars, consistent of Momokogo, Koguma, not Momokogo, Saida, Hanan, and Mayu Utani. Now, this is one of these matches. It is a preliminary match. Now, if you guys remember, Hanan and Saida issued that they nominate, of course, FWC as their next challengers. Now, of course, recently there's been some developments within its own star members. Hanan feels that, of course, that stars are not actually moving ahead, like looking into the future. So there's been a lot of accusations towards that, of course, and they're feeling that, of course, they're being held back. So that's the whole story, how it's been going around. But however, there are been speculations about Azuki that she could be feeling a bit upset how things have been, how she's being talked about. And this match ended with Ida applying a pinfall onto Azuki, and just like that, it was over. However, of course, there was a moment where Azuki wouldn't even look at Ida, like not act all proud because of what's been happening. Hanan was accusing of Azuki, saying that she's holding them back. But I don't know what's going to happen. But I know Mayu Itani believes that, of course, stars will be fine. But the real question, will it be? I mean, the last person to leave in a bad way was Tam, but we'll see. Next up, we have the members of God's Eye, more specifically Rana Yagami and Tomoka Inaba, taking on the Cosmic Angels, Sayaka Kurara and Yuna Mizumori. Now, of course, you would think that this match would feature a somewhat of a revenge match for Rana Yagami and Sayaka Kurara for two reasons. One, these two, of course, came from the same batch of wrestlers that debuted on Christmas Day back in 2023. However, if you guys remember, there have been matches where these two have fought each other, and some of them end up in time limit draws. But one of their bigger matches took place is when Sayaka Kurara defeated her during the quarterfinals of the Cinderella tournament. And I think this is one of those moments where, of course, Rani Yagami gets her revenge on Kurara, and of course, she did. So basically, you can tell this is payback, but I wouldn't be surprised if these two become rivals. So that is something that is a possibility we could see. Now, our next match, we have the members of Hate, consistent of Azusa Inaba, Fukigen Death, and Konami taking on Tabitha, and the members of Neo Genesis, Miyu Amasaki and Mei Sita. So basically, nothing too special about this match whatsoever. But however, it was, of course, Amasaki who was able to pick up the win on Fukigen Death with her signature pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Hate members Rina and Natsuko Tora taking on God's Eye, Lady C, and Shuri. Now, of course, when it comes to Hate, you all know how they are. They like to play dirty games. Not to mention, Rina got in the face to Lady C, telling her, "You'll be nothing more than a tall girl." Because, of course, Rina's issues toward Lady C, that she is nothing more than, and I pardon my language, this is quoting her saying, shitty old hag. So that's exactly what she's been calling her. Not to mention, it was Natsuko Tora who picked up the win with a diving body press, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, we have Hanako taking on Zuzu Suzuki. Now, nothing too special about this. Now, remember, Suzuki is currently on her own. She doesn't have any unit or faction she's associated with. Now, of course, Zuzu, some of you may think Hanako is a very strong individual. She has grown so much. She even learned some techniques from Shinsuke Nakamura. But however, Zuzu is always up for a challenge of fighting. And none of the tricks that, of course, for Hanako, her advantage is being taller, like Lady C, would help. It did not do any well because Zuzu was able to put her away with the tequila shot, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. And of course, during the post-match promo, Zuzu told her that even though you're taller, you're still nothing. Like, she's not in the same level as her. I mean, even though Hanako does have two advantage, I mean, she did learn something from Shinsuke Nakamura, and she's tall, but Zuzu lives for the fight. That's how we normally would see. But we'll see where that goes from there. Our next match, we have, of course, the Cosmic Angels, Aya Sakura, Sayuri Anu, and Natsupoi taking on EXV's Rian, Waka Tsukiyama, and Maika. Now, what's very interesting is Rian tried to hurt, of course, the injured foot of Natsupoi, but Natsupoi wasn't playing any games with her, and not to mention she put her foot on her hand. And then, of course, Maika, who was an old teammate of Natsupoi, decided to give her a welcome home present. If you guys saw what happened with Maika and Mina in their Corkin match, she had a lot of photos posted on what she was doing to her, and then she tried to do the same thing to Natsupoi on her return. But however, this match ended with, of course, um, Sakura with a high kick onto Rian, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, we have Tam Nakano teaming up with Starlight Kid, taking on Hate members Raka and Saya Kamitani. Now, this is also a preliminary match. Remember, Kamitani is on the verge of destroying Tam, and to ensure that she retires and all that. And that's exactly what she's been doing. Not to mention, we have seen dirty tricks coming from them. But unfortunately, Tam suffered the loss when Kamitani, of course, applied the Star Crusher, and just like that, it was over. And of course, during the post match, she said things to Starlight Kid, and not to mention the Tam, saying that this is goodbye forever. So we'll see what happens from there. So this is practically what happened in Osaka. Let's move on to the next one in Sakae. Okay, so we continue with more with Stardom in Sakae or Sakae or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it, but for me making it wrong, there we go. This is the recent show that happened today. So let's start from the very beginning. Our first match, we have a 6-woman tag match. We have Hate members Fukigen Death, Azusa Inaba, and Ryan taking on the Cosmic Angels Next Generation. Our winner for the Cinderella tournament, Sayaka Kurara, our current Sendai Girls Junior World Champion, uh, Aya Sakura, and of course Yuna Mizumori. As you know, there has been talk that these three ladies are determined to make a play for the artist belts, which is something that we know they can pull off. We've seen how cohesion they have become together since they formed, and of course this plays out pretty well. But however, there's certain tricks they have to avert. Is of course Fukigen Death has been well known as a being a high speed wrestler. Azusa Naba, expert in karate, and not to mention Rina Rina in judo. So that kind of plays out, and not to mention Hate being playing dirty. But it was, of course, Sayaka Kurara who walked away with the win with the spear on Fukigen Death. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Next up, we have the members of EXV, Rian and Waka Tsukiyama, taking on God's Eye members, Kira Kurigani and Lady C. Now, of course, it's no secret for those who know this. The Lady C and Waka Tsukiyama knew each other very well. They met back in 2021. They were even tag team partners before they ended up in the respective units they were in. Of course, Waka went with the Cosmic Angels. Lady C later joined with Queen's Quest, and that kind of plays out. They have a very interesting relationship. But however, many of you may have thought that if Lady C was able to pick up a win against Waka, it wasn't against her. It was with Rian when she applied a choke slam, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Next up, we have Yuria Him and Zu Suzuki taking on Neo Genesis, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid, which is unusual. Many of you guys know this already. Zuzu just recently turned on Mei Sita and Neo Genesis to go on her own. But of course, many of you would assume in some capacity that Neo Genesis would walk out as the winners, because the X factor is Yuria Him being the least experienced wrestler in this team, and that plays out pretty well as well. I mean, I wouldn't hold that against it, but that's how it is. But for some reason, it was Suzuki who walked away with a German suplex onto Amasaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Mei Sera couldn't even participate in this event due to port health issue. Zuzu was saying, "Why is she in here? Is she scared of me?" Well, we don't know what's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Mei Sita makes a play to get even with her for turning on her, which is something we could definitely see. So we'll just wait, on that front. Next up, we have Tabitha taking on Hanako. I mean, Tabitha, she is very interesting to watch. I mean, she's very skillful. I mean, for a wrestler coming down from Mexico. I think she has about maybe 1 year of experience, but I think it's great that she is in Stardom, getting some learning tips from this. But she's facing against Hanako, who in fact has grown significantly. I mean, using the JP coaster, and of course that move that Shinsuke Nakamura played. And that match also played out where Hanako used the JP coaster, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, our next match, we have the members of Hate, consistent of Raka, Konami, and Natsuko Tora, taking on the core members of the Cosmic Angels, Sayuri Anu, Natsupoi, and Tam. Now, of course, when it comes to Hate, you know that they had their issues with the Cosmic Angels, and more specifically with Tam. So basically, you know there's going to be some dirty tricks involved in it. Of course, we were going to see, of course, Natsuko Tora used the mist on Tam and then applied a Death Valley bomb, and then, of course, the Swanton, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Natsuko Tora did stated, as you know, she may hate Tam Nakano with all her might. It seems like she doesn't want her to retire. She says, "I hope you don't retire." Now, I wouldn't be surprised, because in my opinion, if Kamitani would have heard her say, if she was there, she would say, "What the fudge? Why you don't want her to retire? I want her gone." But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But Natsuko Tora feels, in her honest opinion, she needs to beat her, no matter what. I mean, Mina tried to do that before, but it didn't work. So it would make sense. But I wouldn't be surprised if Kamitani took the reins as the leader of Hate instead of Natsuko Tora. But that's pretty much it, what happened. Now, our next match, we have Maika versus Saya Ida versus Saya Kamitani. Now, for those who know this, these trio have been known in Stardom as the Golden Generation. But there is another member of the Golden Generation who is not currently with Stardom. She is currently the ace of Marigold, and I'm talking about Utami Ishida. So you would think how this was going to go. Now, Maika, you probably know, she hasn't forgotten how Saya Kamitani betrayed her, costing her the red belt to Natsuko Tora last year. But now, Kamitani has shown her true colors, and she's determined to go through anyway. But however, Kamitani was able to walk away with the win when she applied the Star Crusher on Saya Ida, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Maika did stated in the post-match promo that she hopes that Tam beats her and of course makes her retire. But Kamitani replied saying, "Oh, I'm not going to retire because the Gold Generation still needs me." But you can tell Maika is hoping that's the case. Maika's also another wrestler that feels, "I haven't beaten Tam Nakano yet." So she's hoping that Tam wins and she gets her chance to finally defeat her. That's one of those things that makes sense. There are wrestlers that feel, we have to defeat Tam. We can't let this happen. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Natsuko Tora helps Tam win and she gets her shot to defeat her. So we'll see. Now, our main event, you can call this a preliminary match. We have God's Eye members consistent of Rana Yagami, Tomoka Inaba, and Shuri, taking on Star members Momokoko, Hanan, and Mayu Itani. Now, some of you may ask another question that I failed to mention. Both Koguma and Ozuki were not present in this event. They were participating with Gambari Pro, more specifically with Yuna Manaze. She did not train those two because, of course, those who know this, they're both inbreds from Stardom, but Yuna knows their reputation too well. But anyway, this is a player match. If you know this, Shuri has issued a challenge for the IWGP Women's Championship, and Mayu Itani will defend it. So you can tell this is one of those matches where, okay, who walks out as bringing the momentum? Well, the momentum went to Mayu Itani when she applied the Dragon Suplex onto Shuri, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Shuri reminded her, even though she may have won this match, it doesn't mean it's the end, that she is determined to dethrone her for the IWGP Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens until then. So right now, we are officially done with Stardom. Let's end this entire episode, of course, with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now, I mentioned earlier in the start of this episode that there will be no developments that will be mentioned on this one. We're just going to focus on the upcoming events, starting with GCW updates. As you know, there will be two events that have been announced back to back in the month of May. The first one is called Big Time in Jopa, Maryland. They announced one called Manders will take on the Octopus, Jonathan Gresham. And then, of course, the following day in Rochester, New York, also known as Brody Lee Country, for Run For It on the 18th of May, tag team match has been announced. Infinity and Beyond taking on Davey Bang and August Matthews. Now let's jump into some other events. Spark Yoshi Puroesu of America with Lady Luck taking place on the 17th of April in Las Vegas. Ram Kacho will defend the Spark Yoshi Pacific Championship against Bert Vixen. So that's going to be one hell of a match. House of Glory has announced for the Raging War on the 9th of May. Rich Swann taking on the Root of All Evil, Charles Mason. Then, of course, we have the upcoming event from Canadian promotion Maple Leaf Pro with Northern Rising taking place on the 10th. They announced that Jonathan Gresham will be participating, but he's not involved in the 20-man gauntlet match involving for the Maple Leaf Canadian Championship. Wrestling Revolver will have Let Us Cook on the 17th of May. The Revolver World Championship will be defended. Myron Reed will defend his championship against BDE, who was out of action for quite some time, but now he's medically cleared. NWA has announced for the Crockett Cup also on the 17th that Gail Kim will be making her appearance, but not part of the show, but part of an exclusive autograph signing. Now, we know she has appeared in NWA before. I'm not sure if she is taking a job with them. We know that there's been talk about where she could land. I mean, we know that JR said that he would definitely endorse having her in if Tony Khan insisted on it, but we haven't heard anything yet. But it's great that she is going out there meeting with her fans. And then finally, Jersey Championship Wrestling has announced a new show called Rec Sport Pro Wrestling that will take place on the 12th of June. So that's pretty much it what we have for our updates. So as always, let's call it a day. Alright, so I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Now, as we speak, we should be having the next Stardom show taking place. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see it, but if I do, I'll let you guys know. I'm a bit behind on both Choco Pro and of course, Tokyo Triple Wrestling, and of course, I was unable to catch up with New Japan with Windy City Ride. I probably won't do that until the following day, due to the fact that I was only focusing on this because I'm trying to control what I'm trying to do, because I got to go back to my main job, my regular day job in the morning, so I couldn't do it. So I will review that in case anybody asks. So that is a priority. Well, right now it's going to be a top priority along with AW Collision as well, but we'll see how we go from there. But as of right now, we'll delete things as it is, and I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.